I'm just watching emo. Coming up on today's Retro Robbins, I get obliterated, I get run over because I get turned into a frog. That's right, we're going to have a look at a couple of Froggy games, one for the Spectrum next, one for the Spectrum. We go back to part 2 of issue 62, just to have a look at a couple more games that I missed from last week. So, if you love a bit of 8-bit and you want a bit of retro gaming fun for the weekend, well, why not join this fun little channel with me, Wayne, on Retro Robbins Show, coming up right now. What do you say, Emo? Don't look at me like that. Run the titles! Well, that was an unusual starting. Hello, welcome to the Retro Robbins Show with me, Wayne, Retro Robbins, and of course, Emo, my AI dancing robot there, who's about to bust the moves pretty quickly. Ooh, panic. Okay, what's on today's show? Well, we've got a good look at a collection of games that I've come across this week. Some of them are quite from a couple of years ago, but they're still in my books classed as new. As well as we're going to look at a next game. Yeah, we've got a Spectrum Next games. A double hit from Frogger, one from the Spectrum and one from the Spectrum Next. So you've got a little clue what's coming on there, but we'll do that in a moment. Also, we're going to go back to Crash number 62. Have a look at about 2 games from that. One of them I can't quite understand how to play it, but I've given it a go. We're going to give it the Retro Robbins treatment, see if it stands the test of time, of course. And if we're lucky, and we will be lucky because it's going to be a long show today, we'll put some more Commodore vs Spectrum in. So if you've not seen the Retro Robbins Show before, it's about me reviewing homebrew games, it's about me playing old games and seeing if I can find one of those hidden gems. Games that time have forgotten, ones that we don't play very often that we're... Emo, what are you doing? I've took his earphones off, you know, his earphones. Because he's deaf and he can't hear a word that I'm saying, but he dances a little bit more if we do that, so yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, maybe if we get time, get Commodore vs Spectrum. Couple of things to tell you. Computers in use today. Oh, the grey +2 over there, which I've got wired via a wire to the mixing desk in front of me. That will be providing, I must show you this certainly, that will be providing some AY tunes. We've got the Spectrum +3 and we've got the Toestrak also providing AY tunes today, so there's going to be quite a number of AY tunes just to provide a little bit of atmosphere in the background, as well as the Harlequin 128. Today's show is mainly run on the Engo clone of the Spectrum Next, which to me is, well, the Spectrum Next is a real Spectrum because it's got the branded Sinclair name. If it carries the Sinclair name, then it's a Spectrum in all rights for me. So, without no further ado, please read the screen. Let's get on with today's show. What's coming up right now? The first game that we're going to have a look at today is a foreign game. I haven't got it in the English language yet. I don't believe it has been released in the English language yet. But we have a look at it. It does indeed have 128k AY tune to start with. That is the game, or the name of the game. And then you suddenly come from loading instructions. The AY tune itself starts off with just a 2-beat tone, then builds up and then drops back down to virtually nothing. So if you've got Translate on it, translate all that for yourself if you wish to. I didn't bother, I just got straight into playing the game. The game itself is not too bad. It's a bit of a platformer and puzzle game at the same time. So, usual choices. I can understand the word Sinclair, I can understand the word Kempston, and obviously the first one must be keys. So, we're going to go for Kempston, which I've got already hooked up anyways. Press up to jump and you've got your basic left and right. You're this character here with the hat on. Touch anything at all and you will die. So it's best to avoid all ghouls and ghosts. You fall too far.
I'm not sure I'll have the best answer, but I'll try.
Who's asked you anything? I haven't asked you anything. You go around collecting keys. You can go into this room here. If you go, oh, as you see, it died straight away. That is obviously a train. There's a hole there. If you press fire, you will fall through that hole. But we're not going to go that way. We're going to go this way to start with. And if you press fire here, you will change screens. Oh, that obviously the flame kills you. And things falling from the sky kill you. But we're going to go back to the screen, see if I can make it across. Oh, I've jumped straight into him. We'll try again because that was such a quick go. And believe me, lives don't last very long at all on this game. I didn't mean to jump then, but I ended up jumping anyways. So as I say, you don't want to fall too far because that becomes your bitter end. And if you can help it, try not to stay in the water too long because that also becomes a bitter end. In fact, there are that many places here that you can inadvertently die on, as well as falling too far. However, have you noticed the way I can turn back into the building to ease my drop, if you like? Now, I'm not sure, but I think I can actually go back a few screens here if I wanted to the train. But I'm not going to. I'm going to proceed further along the line. Not going to the train, but we're going to go line. We're going to collect as many of these keys as we can. Oh, and yeah, sometimes you think the ghosts can't travel into the castle, but they do, don't they? They travel inside the castle, so you've got to be careful where they can actually bounce. Let's press down here. Oh, that was quick. That was quick. Give it another go. This time we won't go that far. We're going to go and collect 3 keys, and then I'm going to go back to see if I can open a gate that is down by the train. I wait for the middle. Shut up, Emo. Oh, I wait for the middle fish to appear, and then try and jump across it. I've already lost a life here already, so that's not good, is it? Right. Graphically, there's not a lot to be said about it, really, is there? Its character looks a bit stiff. His arms look a bit stiff, if you ask me. Right, that key there, I want. Oh, that's good. I found that good. Oh, well, that's unusual, isn't it? Have you noticed that? I died that side of the screen, but I started the other side. Yeah, and be careful the way they Oh, game over and I got all that way. Okay, what do I think about the game? Well, it's a 6.5 out of 10 at best, I'm afraid. It's a little bit too brutal. I worked out a few things on what to do. I had a good play at it. Good play of it. And I wasn't overwhelmed with it, but it was graphically okay. Just that the character itself, the sprite for the main person, was a little bit dull and stiff. And it wasn't very clear working out where you could tread and where you can't tread. So even though you died in a certain place, next time round you didn't die in that place. But that's available free on download. You can get it from Spectrum Computing. If you go on to the latest games or releases, it's on there. So give it a go and tell me what you think. You agree with me there? It wasn't that much of a game to be interested in, or apart from the AY tune, which is also getting very repetitive. I can't see any other reason for me to go back to it. So let's move on to the next game for today. I think we'll zoom in a little bit, shall we? So let's just bring up the screen a little bit, because the next game I just want you to see a little bit more of it. I meant to zoom in on the last one, but it wasn't that fascinating in the game, to be quite honest. We're going to go for a, hopefully it'll work in 128k mode. Artillery! That's a simple little game, mainly a 2-player, and I liked it. I certainly liked the effort they put in the loading screen there. It was nice and colourfully done. Score to win. Let's say you've got to hit 3. Okay. The wind's telling you that way. And you've effectively going to be a castle this side, and you've got to hit the castle that side. So then you've got to judge your angle. In this case, we want an angle of around about, should we say 35 degrees? And velocity, that's a bit different because of the distances away, so we're going to say let's try 30 just as a judgment, and then you will fire, and he's going to do the same. So let's say he says 40 to 35, reverse it, see if that's right. And there you go. The first one was terrible. There's your castle destroyed, so obviously that side's winning, and I've 1-0 down, so Emo's playing that game, I'm playing this one. Slightly different hill, and this time we're going to go for the 40 degrees and 40 as well. I can hear you, Emo, we know you're there. Let's say 45, velocity, let's say 60, we can't let him win that easily. Enter. Once you've typed in those figures, my bullet's hit the hill, and Emo's bullet's still travelling over to some other European country somewhere. And then all of a sudden, it becomes slightly night time, if you know what I mean. So we can carry on playing this again. So we did 45 before, didn't we? Let's say 50, yeah, and 48. That's that one done. He's going to say 45 was his last one, which was about right. As you can see, it made over the hill, but the velocity was only half that amount. So I'll say 35. Now, obviously I got it wrong, because this one actually going to come down in time. Oh, just missed. So we'll say the angle was 50 again. Or should we say 49? But you can adjust, and the velocity was 48, so we'll say 47. Now that, according to that, should be fine. His was, second attempt was still pretty good, 47, because it nearly made it over the hill. Velocity 36. Yeah. We can actually get a dual strike on this game. Let's try that. Ah, we got a hit here. A dual strike. So because he's got 2, that's that game sorted. And I thought it was a fun little game. A simple one, and it is, of course, it is basic. So yeah, if you wanted to have a look at the program, there you go. Where's list on this one? Yeah, I have put a little basic game and fairly homebrew. I quite enjoyed that, and I thought that's an interesting challenge because it leaves the figures there for your next go. So yeah, I'm actually going to give that quite a decent rating. I'm going to give that a 7 out of 10 for what it is. For the basic game, I thought it was brilliant. So that is real homebrew for you. And you don't have to be a great coder to bring a great game. And I thought that was a really good game. Simple, but enjoyable. And I actually ended up playing that for over an hour the other day, trying to work different situations, and then I had a look in the game itself and tried to change some of the basic round to suit myself. I might actually alter it so the graphical background has a few layers to it and that, but you know, yeah, give it a go. That's also available free on download at the same place again, Spectrum Computing. Go for releases, it's underneath that, or updates, and I think that was from actually 2020 if I remember rightly, or it might be from this year, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, tell me what you thought about that game. I really enjoyed it. Moving on then. Right, we're loading up this game right now from 2019, Atlantis. I just thought I'd have a look at the loading screen first of all. Obviously the ocean is blue, but you can see the city in the Atlantis in the background. A very pixelated type of loading screen. But yeah, I thought it was okay. From first glance and from distance I thought, oh, that looks nice, doesn't it? But then you get to stare at it while it loads for a while and then you think it's not so nice. I don't know what you're doing, Emo, but yeah, something wrong with your eyes. Anyway, we'll move to where we actually get the game loaded. Right, we've got the options of Kempston, or we can redefine the keys, which is, I always love the redefine the keys. We'll press the redefine the keys just to see what keys are there. Yeah, we're going to right and centre. Okay. So there's only really 3 keys. Okay, so we might as well use Kempston. Okay, so we'll do that. Sometimes you get an extra key sort of on these sort of games. Ah, I remember it now. Yeah, we've got to fire and hit things before they destroy your buildings. So if you press for the right one, you get the right fire. You press the left, you get the left fire. But the speed of these is quite good. It's like another version of, well, I'm doing okay considering. I've lost my centre one, I've lost my last one. Ah, I've lost 2 of them already, yeah. Do well to hit them, don't you? Oh, it's a bit of a reaction game. Although what has this got to do with Atlantis, I have no idea, because I'm sure there wasn't flying things over Atlantis. I've just lost another port. It's like Earth Defence, isn't it, or Earth Defender, where, you know, you're trying to missile attack, is it? I forgot the name of the game. I know it's a similar version, similar experience to that. It's the ones that are carrying that beam that you've got to just get. And I'm pretty much wiped out, aren't I? I've got a couple more strikes and we're done. Come on then, few more. Got it. Yeah, got to fly away. I managed to survive that attack, so we move on to the next screen. You're pretty quick into this, wasn't I then? I didn't mess around, did I? So, yeah. I don't know. I thought it was okay. There's hardly any, apart from the sound effects, which you can hear when you're firing. Missile defence, I'm sure that's the name of the game I'm thinking, where you basically fire missiles to block missiles coming down, but this is sort of doing that on a crossways way. Oh, I'm sorry, Emo, are you not amused with what I'm playing on screen? You deciding to play your own games? Hmm? You carry on spraying your Space Invader then. It reminds me a little bit of missile defence. I'll give that a 6 out of 10. I wouldn't say it was brilliant. It's a little bit basic, but you know, it was okay for a bedroom coded game, I suppose, if it was indeed bedroom coded, if you know what I mean. A one-man brew type thing. Not a lot to the background really, and a little bit too fast, so you don't really get many chances of changing different skill levels. It's one skill or the highway, if you know what I mean. But yeah, maybe you think differently. You might actually enjoy that game, but it wasn't really one for me, to be quite honest. Oh, we've got a bleeper sound. Warning, bleeper sound alert. So this is the first of the Frogger games. And this one was 2022, so it's fairly hot off the press. The original game was based back in 1983, according to that. Gives you a little bit of information. There's your starting screen for you. And we're going to go for the keys, which are going to be, press any key. Do you want the instructions? Why not? We'll go for the instructions. And while we're just quickly reading through that, which is kind of hard to make out, to be fair, I'll go and select an AY tune to the background. I'm just going through my folder on the other key. I've got 2 computers here. What we'll do is we'll load that on the Toestrak, so if I press this button the Toestrak will kick into action. See if you can guess the game for the AY tune in the background. That's a good thing to do. Controls are 1, which is move forwards, and 9 and 0, so you press any other key to play. So let's go, shall we? Oh, okay. Bit of intensity. Let's check the controls. Okay, right, we've got to get across the roads. Now, unlike most Frogger games, there seems to be a lot more traffic on here than there is on the M25 around the outer orbital of the of London. So, oh, we got one home. How about that then? The keys are quite sensitive, so as soon as you press them, you can end up going into. You need to keep an eye on the spider as well. Oh, got into the crocodile. Well, that's a small gap to get through, isn't it? Oh, look at that. I did a double jump just at the right time as well. I tend to jump too early because the keys are quite sensitive. You know, I do tend to jump too early. And if you're not careful, you can move across into the other vehicles very quickly as well. Right, this time I've got this. I've got this. 2 home! We're doing good. We're doing good. So although the graphics are okay, they're very small, 1 character square sprites, so you can see how this could almost be a basic game, couldn't it? But they are moving too smoothly for it to be basic. Do you think I'll get the 4? Problem is, once you've committed to moving forwards, you can't move backwards. How many lives have I got left? My score's 25. I've got a few lives left yet. Oh, I nearly had it, nearly had it. I need a big enough gap. And there's the gap there, right between that. I'm just got to be careful here. Now that spider can change directions on you, so be careful. Because I was watching the spider, I ended up losing my life. Now, unlike Frogger game, where you jump on logs, you don't jump on anything up there. In fact, you basically, like a proper frog, you can swim, if you like. Oh, if you press twice, you dare. I think I've seen enough of that for now. What I'll do now is I'm going to give that a small rating for a Frogger game that is very difficult. The graphics are okay. The alligators don't snap, they've constantly got the mouth open, so there's no animation there. They're just literally moving across the screen. The spider's just moving left and right. There's no real animation there. But you can score okay, but it's very sensitive on the controls. Good use of colours though, the way that every logo line changes somewhat of a colour, yellow, green, and we've got blue and red of course, and the background of light Clyde, if you like, or light blue I like to call it. So there is good parts about the game, but the difficulty doesn't build up slowly. It starts as it is, and that is it. So for that reason, I'm going to give it a 6.5 out of 10 because it was okay. And what we'll do now is we'll go and have a look at the Spectrum Next version of this game and see if this is any better. Okay, we're going to go for this game, and yeah, we've got joystick or keyboard, so if I press J for joystick. And hopefully it's Kempston. Yeah, it's Kempston. Yeah, good. I had got the Kempston ready, I wasn't sure. Right, now this is sort of like slightly less happening. Still fairly fast moving cars. I got the first one out of the way quite easily. Right, this is the next game of Roadkill. And it's a lot different than the Spectrum game, of course. This time you're not allowed to jump into the water because you've got to jump onto the moving logs. So that's more like the Frogger game that we know and love. Controls are good, graphics are good, the movement is really easy. And you get plenty of time to... and you don't have to be pixel perfect to land in there either. So you will get a variation of screens. Oh, I've actually lost a life. I like the sound effects, to be honest. I thought the sound effects were really well done. And we can see our time's running down. And that's your first level up. Ooh. Now I'm not sure about the yellow circles. Oh yeah, you can. I'm going to try and get the end one out of the way. Usually the end one's the hardest one, isn't it? That is usually the hardest one to get. I'm kind of getting lost in this game. I'm starting to enjoy it, to be fair. Yeah, this is for the next, and it's available as well. I like to tip the coders, but I think you can actually get it free on download. But that's up to you. And I thought for a Frogger game that's probably the only Frogger game that I know of that's on the next, this is a really good play. It's not difficult. It gets gradually more difficult. Have you noticed the cars and the traffic are speeding up? The sprites are quite nice. And hopefully now we get to level up again. Yeah, and there's a variation of backgrounds. As you can see there, we got something in the middle this time. So that's where the difficulty increases. On the start you could drop in the middle and nothing would get you, but as you get further in the game, these gaps where you was able to take a respite, they sort of increase. There we go. And as always, the hardest one to get is the one at the very, very start, because you need to basically hope that the log arrives at the right time. Oh, how many lives have I got left? Game over. Okay, what do I think of this Frogger high score? You know that. Frogger for the Spectrum Next. I thought it was spot on, to be honest. You know, it's exactly what it should be. I enjoyed playing it, and I like the sound effects in it. I like the graphics in it. I like the way that each scene, as you get through levels, changes as well. Unfortunately, there's no sort of AY music in the background other than the sound effects, which lets it down a little bit. And because of that, I'm going to mark it down to what it would have been. I was going to originally give that a 9 out of 10, but I think I'm going to take half a point off that, if you know what I mean, because 8.5 out of 10 for the Spectrum Next. It was a good play, an enjoyable play, and a really good version of Frogger. So yeah, if you've got the Next or the Yengo clone, give that one a go. Tell me what you think and leave your comments in the comments below. Let's move on to the last of today's newish games. Well, not so new, this one. This is quite a couple of years old, but you'll see what I mean next. this next game, you're going to like it actually. We're going to load it from the TZX file, but obviously you can see I've got the 28 megahertz in action there, plus loading speed, and it is 128k. So, while I take a sip of my tea, you'll see this do its usual Raspberry Pi thing. Oh, I do love the big cup. Hey, look at the size of this cup. AY tune from the game Sum It Up. Well, it's more of a demo than a game. It's a great game though. And that is being played on the +3 game. It's still +3. I've got the Graham Toestrak queued up next, don't we? Farmer Jack, Treasure Trove. So, do you remember those like metal detectors they go around? Remember that guy that found loads of antique Roman coins at once on a field? I think it was somewhere in Worcester, maybe wrong. Those are what those are, Roman coins are meant to be, looking like, and you've got to collect them. And do it a tractor. So we did, Lee, you're digging them up. Sorry, can't let it get cold, can I? And it is too. I know it's weak, but it is too. Right, the game's loaded, so what we'll do is we'll cancel the AY music over there, because this indeed does have AY tune. Might be playing a bit fast. That's fine. Right, drop the megahertz down. Back to the normal speed, else this game will play too fast. Game and graphics by Bob Smith, and of course the AY music by Lee. I'm not going to try and paint something. Great looking high scoreboard. Obviously the darker the lower you go, the darker colour you'll be in till you get to the white and bright #1 spot for Bob. I ain't getting nowhere near that score, but we're going to give it a go anyway. So, this game, well, you get to redefine your keys, champion. You know what I'm like when it comes to redefining keys. I think every game should be given that option, and now you've given that option to me. 1 second. Hopefully you can hear the sound better. I forgot to put the mic in. Left, right, up and down. Fire. Let's just... oh. Increase the volume of the music for a moment. Nice looking beginning screen really, isn't it? I like the graphics of the coin. I think that's really good. The tractor and then somebody with a big of a money bag there. That must be the guy you advise. You press 0 to start. And you become this tractor here. And you've got to go around collecting these coins. By leaving a fence or a gate, you block them from coming out. Because if they come out, they steal your loot basically. So the more you can get round to block them off a little bit, the better. Because I've blocked that side, I really want to be going the other side quickly. And where there aren't any coins, they're going to move quicker. So I should be able to get all these. And if you notice there's like little white dots that build up on the opposite side there, you need to get them to the top. You can also collect things from the middle. Unfortunately I failed to do that this time around. The key is to drop the gate straight away. Nice background. Of course the backgrounds do change slightly as you progress through the levels and you collect more and more coins. There we go, that'll buy me some more time. Oh, I was so into that game then I completely lost where I was at, weren't I? Oh, where's Emo disappeared then? Oh, he suddenly disappeared. Right, where are we going? Oh yeah, of course. He's nicking all my bits. I've got one more to collect. But, there we go. Now the screen will change. Oh, that was good to drop that there in the nick of time, wasn't it? little bit like Pac-Man, isn't it really? But not quite like Pac-Man because you haven't got power pills. And in fact, it's very smooth and it runs really, really well, to be fair. Oh, I don't want to block myself in. Now, you can drive through your fences, but they cannot. Oh, no. There you go. I've collected something from out the centre. So you can collect items from out the centre if you're lucky enough. If you notice, their side is over here where the tractor is now. And that slowly builds up. He's nicking all my coins. Well, I can have the last one. Great little game. Right, there we go again. Second screen, third attempt. I'm not so sure that I'm picking the right route, but it seems to be working so far. Now, obviously, their side's going to build up a lot quicker than yours, so... I tried to put a gate there as that gate was disappearing, but I'm afraid that doesn't work. So you've got to be a bit quicker than that, but this occasion I managed to get away with doing that instead. I bet these are the ones you want to get out of the way, the dead end zones. Right, the movement's very smooth indeed. It's really nice to control. There's no hesitation, glitches. You're able to get in and out of the passageways very nicely indeed. Oh, sometimes though, when you press fire, I end up dropping 2 gates, which is not really what I want to be doing. I'm going to leave a gate there so as I can click that later. Oh, listen to the outward, the way it's changed. Screen number 3 coming up. Oh, this is going to be a bit of a hard one to block them in, isn't it? Let's see if we can do it. Oh, they're escaping already. So because they're all on that side and they're going to eat loads of pills, it's going to be harder for me to get my white above theirs. So as you can see, they're sort of building up pretty quickly indeed, aren't they? And as soon as you put a gate to block them, I like that coin, thank you very much. Yeah, they're going to beat me this time by the looks of things. Ooh. No! No! I'm going to lose this fight. Come on, one more. Did I win? Did I win? Did I win? Yes! Right then. Okay, I'm really enjoying that. Oh, I've got my name up. Let's put Ace. I normally put Ace, don't I? Oh, I'll put A. That's how sensitive the fire button is. Great game. 100% great game. Great little maze game. Good graphics, good sound. Good movability, good playability if you like. I'm sure that got a high rating. Who knows in Crash? Or maybe it will. Maybe it won't. I don't even know if it's... What are you doing here, Mo? Don't try and walk off the edge, please. I don't know what's wrong with him today. He's playing his own games and ignoring me half the time. Yeah, so what do I reckon? Well, definitely 8 out of 10. Agree with that, do you? Yeah, why not? 8 out of 10. Give that a go. I liked it, you know. Well done, Bob. That's a nice bit of game and graphics there. Next game, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Sorry, Emo, just to give you a bigger picture. I should have done this earlier, shouldn't I, with that last one? Keep zooming out, don't I? Right, we got this use of joystick keyboard or Sinclair. I'm not so sure what the joystick is. I think that could be... oh, get some sound on. Go on, Toestrak in action. Sum it up for Toestrak. Is it Kempston? Yes, it's Kempston. Right, okay, so... you've just got to basically get from room to room. There's not a lot to this game. There are no real sprightly bad guys. you can fall too far. You need to collect that little O. It's almost like a basic game. It's fairly newish. And when you collect that, a door opens at the bottom, and if you fall too far, then you will probably die. And we're through the first screen, so yeah. And now, because we've got to sort of drop our way down there, we've got to just sort of step it, you know what I mean? And you can accidentally press up in order to get through. There's not a lot to the game. It's almost missing of any dangerous characters. This gets to be a bit of a challenge. Remember, falling too far is a definite no-no. So what you have to do is you have to sort of turn back on yourself to get down. Now this is where it actually starts to become a bit of a challenge. As you can see, the graphics haven't really changed. Now we've got a timing jumping and pressing left at the same time to land on that platform. And then we have to do the same to get onto that platform to make it across. Remember, if you hit any of those like exclamation marks, they will probably be the end of you. There you go. Pretty instant death, no real death relief, which you just disappear and start again. You dancing to this, emo? And I think we'll just make it a little bit further. We won't spend too long on this game because there's not really that much to it. It's okay, but a bit bland and boring, if you know what I mean, because there's no real colour changes, at least not for the first 4 or 5 screens that I've noticed, and I'm not doing very well at the moment. That 5 must mean my lives, which are now down to 3, and for some unknown reason down to 2. Oh, I jumped too early and I've caught the other exclamation mark. Come on. We can see, if I don't make it off the screen, I'm not going to dwell on the game. What I can say about the actual character there, it just looks a bit stationary, doesn't it? Sort of like a rocket-powered guy. Oh, I'm down to my last life already. Come on, emo, we can do this. No, we can't do this. It lacks something. There's an element of challenge there, but it's not a great deal of challenge really. And there's not much in the way of colours on the screen. The graphical character they move looks a bit boxy, a bit square, slight movement on his feet, and a little rocky trail. But apart from that, I didn't think it was great. I thought it was okay. It wasn't something that I'd really go back to because I just got very bored of it very quickly. And for that reason, I'm only going to give that a 5 out of 10. And that's quite a low marking for Retro. Sorry, but I've got to say what I see, and you know, I don't put my jacket on because it's getting a bit chilly in here. It's getting late, you see. That's what it is. Give it a go. Tell me what you think if you get a chance to play that. You know, maybe you'll like it. There's the name of the game in front of you. Well, you're available free on download, of course. If you can, tip the coder. Maybe it's still working action, or is that the completed article? It's okay. 5 out of 10. That's a fair comment. Guess the AY tune. I'll give you another clue. This is the starting sequence. It is actually from a game called Dynamo. It's a very difficult platformer game, but it's really well done, and it has a great AY tune. You basically have to scroll up the screen collecting diamonds, but believe me, it is tough. Right, this next game, we're going to have a look at the loading screen briefly. Of course, it is got 128k sound, so what I'll have to do is I'll have to pause that AY tune for now, and the Bean Brothers. And this is a great game, to be fair. I have played this before. I love the opening scene. I love the animation of the two characters. I love the AY tune. Big bold letters, Bean Brothers. Straight away you've got your usual define your keys if you like. Right, left, and jump, and switch. And look at the two characters, look at the way they change. They change, they dance, they danced almost in time to the music. Is that too loud? Probably knowing me. The AY tune runs throughout the game, but the game itself is pretty good, and we're going to have a look at that in a moment. We'll go for a little bit of information. Not quite the Blues Brothers. I mean, if there's one thing that's going to make a game, it's when you get a tune that gets you into the game. But then you can get let down by the game itself if it isn't all that good. But starting with a great AY tune gives it a great feel to it. This has not got the case. This is not only got a great AY tune, but the game itself does not let you down. So, without any further to do, let's get on with actually playing the game. So I've defined the keys earlier, which are only 4 keys. There you're this character here. Let's turn that down just a little bit. And you've got to basically get up there to switch that switch on to unlock the gate. There are spikes to come out the floor. The first level is actually one of the most difficult levels, a bit like Manic Miner was, you know. That first level was an introductory level. I didn't want to jump. I didn't want to jump into the spikes. I didn't want to do that. So that's why I fully committed to that. Now obviously if I get there quick enough I can jump up to that part. But unfortunately that's as high as I can jump. So now we need assistance. That's where the switch comes into. And we've got to try and get him up to where he is. Now he'll give him a heads up, switch, and it can be quite frustrating actually because I think the graphics of them going to sleep is clever. But if you get as far as this and you don't complete the tasks, you start the whole thing from the beginning. And if you ain't careful, you can end up locking that as well. So once you switch the switch, make sure you don't switch the switch back again. And all you need to do now is navigate yourself safely to the bottom and through that teleportation device at the bottom there. There is no fall too far. One safely home, so you switch. And that's the first level complete. So not only have you got AY tune, but you've got bleeper sounds effects as well. So he can't jump up to switch that switch, so you switch to this young man here. I love this. Don't they look great with those eyes? Wait, I've just been ultra careful now. Obviously that spiky thing that's going up and down the screen will get me. You don't have to switch here because all I have to do there is just jump on top of him and it gives me the height, and then all I do is just drop down here and I'll get to the next screen. Level 3, 20 levels remember, and you've got 1 life. Remember to switch straight away, because if you don't, yeah, and this guy here of course you need to drop. I'm not sure I'm safe there, but oh, don't make the mistake I do. I made a mistake here of jumping up and leaving him up there, and of course I timed it so badly that oh, he's there. We need to switch on to there. We've got to wait for this guy to go past. There doesn't seem to be a time limit. You've got as long as you need to solve the puzzle. So he can go there now, switch that, opens that gate, switch back. Oh, that was close. And we safely through the next level. And they don't have to be exactly on. Once they get in there, it's great, isn't it? I'm only going to go 4 levels. As you can see, it's a puzzling game. I love the tune. I just love the tune. I think I'll be definitely using that in the show. Graphics are great. The puzzles, the variation of the levels are brilliant, and it gradually does get harder, more and more complex. There's no time limit, there's no lives. You can carry on playing it to your heart's content until you eventually get fed up where you come across a section that you're unable to clear. Loading screen and the introduction at the start was great. So personally, I gave that, didn't quite get a Retro Robbins special, but it wasn't far off. A 9 out of 10, a very good play, and one I'd recommend for anybody to have a go at if you've got a Spectrum. 48K version as well as 128K. Obviously you don't get the AY tune unless you've got the ZXAY from Ben from, you know, it will work with that, of course. I've tried it, so yeah, it's a good game, and I highly recommend a good play for that one. The Bean Brothers, not the Blues Brothers, but the Bean Brothers, and 9 out of 10. A very, very great game to play. Enjoyable, so highly recommended. Right, we're going to move on now to some Crash reviews. Right, need to stop with a cup of tea as we put a Lee Chop Stevens classic game music in the background from the Hare Racing Adventures of Mr. Hare. This one builds up, so be patient with me. Told you it builds up, didn't I? Right, okay, let's do this, shall we? Crash issue number 62, part 2. 2 games I want to cover, maybe 3 if I've got the time. The first one, let's give it presentation, 83%, graphics 79%, sound 73%, playability 82%, 82%, not pretend. I put Emo on charge for 5 minutes because he's been dancing away, you know what I mean? Oh, God. I must stop doing that. Live and learn. I've had to cut the grass as well in between shoots. First cut of the year. I hate cutting the lawn. Fortunately, I've got a petrol mower, and anyway, that's me going off subject. Addictive quality is 80%. Its overall rating was 80%. The game in question was produced by Gremlin Graphics. It would have been £7.99 for cassette or £12.99 on disc, considering some discs were £14–15. That's okay, so we'll leave Alexander Armstrong out of this, shall we? What game are we talking about? Actually, it's quite a good game. I've got to be honest though, I'm rubbish at it. Well, you're going to see that for yourselves, aren't you? Dark Fusion, and it's got a lion bleeper sound, I'll tell you what we should do, we should look at the loading screen, shouldn't we? Because the loading screen's pretty interesting. Bit of clever editing here while I get the loading screen up for you. And there you go, nice loading screen. Let's zoom in for you so you can have a good look. Look at that, that's quite a good little loading screen, isn't it, Dark Fusion? Oh, let's zoom out just a tad. There we go. Yeah, I like it. No colour clash at all, and that's great graphic artwork for a loading screen, including the sign. Just, you know. Yeah, I always like to see the loading screens because obviously if you've got snap files or Z80 and you're loading them via the SD cards, you don't get to see some of the great artwork that was actually produced Just to sell the game at the start, obviously I'm loading this using the Engo clone, and I'm using it at 14 megahertz, but and the butchers of that, I mean that's up there with some of the best loading screens I've seen, to be honest. One of the ones, my favourites are Rambo. That is just there, isn't it? Cobra, there's a few, but yeah. And this game doesn't disappoint. The loading screen is as good as the game. It's 128k, and there is an A side as well as a B side. So you get obviously you have to load the levels probably separate if you haven't got 128k. But there's also D-Tap version, which automatically loads the levels for you if you've got the Div MMC or you've got the Spectrum next to Engo. Right. With that said, I've just changed the speed. Look at the demo. Level complete, loaded complete, sorry, and press any key to start. Nice when games give a little bit of a demo like that. Not really major, but you know, Dark Fusion. So that's meant to be in a D and an F. So let's press a key. Right, we'll turn down Mr. Hare, shall we, for now? Program design, it tells you there across the wayside. Hard to read some of that, it's hard to make out, but I do like the fact that they've used, the bleeper sound can be quite loud sometimes, can't it? I do like the style of writing they've used, even though at the bottom, you know, it's a little bit difficult. From 1988, Gremlin graphics, or was it just Gremlin back then? Who knows? Right, I'm going to define the keys because there are quite a number of keys here, and you do need to know what the select key is, or the activate key. And because we can define the keys, we're going to press number 5. And we'll start with fire. So P for pause, Q for quit, and then we'll go enter for select. And in a minute we're going to start the game, so let's just bring up a bit more. Combat zone, right. Collect that and destroy us. If you're getting too many hits. Oh. And if you stay too long on the screen, you get all sorts of bad guys up here. I've got to try and avoid him, but oh yeah, and get out of their way of them pretty quickly because they've become really annoying. So ooh. Managed to avoid them, that's good. Oh yeah. I don't know if his bullets are hitting me there, but hopefully no, that's it. Okay, I'm going to collect that because that could be a weapon or something, or bonus shield. Yeah, that just gives you extra bounce, you know, so you can jump a little bit higher when you activate it. Just about got to him, didn't I? Oh, got destroyed by that thing. Oh no, it's a boss level. Right, as you can see, it's not quite, it's a little bit like, no, it's, this reminds me of R-Type, doesn't it? You know, that monster that comes out a little bit, and the alien zone. I'll get another chance to try and destroy him. But you hold the button in a bit long, and avoid the bullets, not the actual snaking thing. God, it's a difficult game. Difficult game. Oh, you can shoot the bullets as well. Now, when it's down, I'm actually getting some hits in it. This is going to take some doing. It's going to take some doing. Anyway, well, I got 80%, and let's turn the music down here a bit up there. I thought it was a lot better than 80%. I thought it wasn't far off a crash smash, if you ask me, because I have actually, and I confess, I put a cheat in it so that I had the invincibility, and I was able to go through a few more levels than that. But I don't want to spoil it. It's definitely worth a play, but it's not an easy game to play. But the controls are not broken. They're quite responsive and they're quite reactive. Is it an R-Type clone? Not really, no, it's different, but it's almost like Synapse and then maybe R-Type crossed over. So it's a little bit like Synapse, which is, you know, the same sort of thing, but with Synapse you hold the button down and of course you glow to get this one, you collect them, then you press the enter for the power-ups to actually be effect. But as a shoot 'em up, I thought it was pretty good. The graphics don't disappoint. There is zero colour clash anywhere. The bullets are travelling slow enough for you to be able to reply to them. But there are parts of the game that do seem a little bit more difficult. You know, I mean, like, for instance, you don't know what to walk into and what to destroy sometimes. But that boss level, by the way, is a tough one. Imagine, I don't think I could ever get past that without actually using an infinite life mode. So for that reason, I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10. Is this a game that you've played? I mean, I've had a good play of it, but I didn't do very well on camera. But off camera, I've done a lot better. But I can't cheat while I'm recording this, can I? Or can I? Let's have a look at something else then. Right, I've got to get a loading screen, another great loading screen here. A game that's by Melbourne House. The game itself, Obliterator, is not easy, but we'll give you the ratings. I couldn't really give this a rating because I found it so difficult to play. Because the control system, well, I'll explain more in a minute. Anyway, the presentation was given 74%, graphics 78%, sound 86%, playability it starts to drop down a little bit here, 68%, addictive quality 65%, overall rating was 70%. Yeah, this was from the March issue of Crash 62, which would have cost you £1.25, and oh, where's my controller gone? Ooh, there it is. Has an AOI tune to start with, and it's sort of spooky, and it would have been nice, I think, if they'd have continued this into the game. I'm going to go for Kempston, and then we go 0 to begin mission, and I've got Emo back, as you can see. He's at his charge. So you're this guy here, and before I do anything else, because I've left it on 14 megahertz because I wanted to load it quickly. That's better. We're playing normal speed, right? So you use left and right, but if you press down or up, you can go through these selections here. Now, when you're doing that, you can still move left and right. Now, I believe that one is to fire, and that one is to transport yourself, if you know what I mean. So say if I stand there, I think this is the way it works. Oh no, it doesn't. That one, that's the jump, and if you ain't careful, it'll just keep running and jumping. Yeah, the music has continued into the game, and it's sort of freaky, and there's a little alien shooting down the bottom corner. And as what happens this week, as I was recording this, I've seen somebody playing it online, and so I had a watch of it as well, and he was absolutely atrocious. But I understand the game, and of course, as we enter the next room, right, there's that. No, I don't want to get too close to him, right? Because right, so I'm going to need to do a sort of. But I can't sort of crouch down to shoot him. But if I gently move forward, and I go, just keep that on there. Right, now I've been hit by him. and I need to click that, and I'm taking blows. And so how do I click that? I've got to go to, no, is it this one? Right, and then I need to fire with it when he's, I can't fire down, so I'm in trouble here. Now, maybe if I activate, as I say, the controls are very broken, aren't they? So the only thing I can do here is run for it. So that's what I'll have to do. And if I don't make it out of the room quick enough, then I'm gonna. And every time I go to move, I get hit. Anyway, I've managed to get the gun. So now wants to transport me out there. So I need to press down. And this is where the controls are broken slightly, because it's really awkward to move these onto the right squares at the right time. Like, I don't know if I need to be exactly to that door. And I think, yes, I think it's that one, isn't it? That'll transport me down into another level. Right, so we've moved and changed screen. A little bit confusing, so that wants to enter and come out the other side of a door. And then of course I need to go straight and put my gun ready to fire, because as soon as I walk in here, and of course I've got the wrong weapon firing now, because I wanted a fire straight. There we go, I've got a straight one. But no sooner do I fire, do I get hit, so I don't even know if I'm doing anything, but am I destroying him or what? You know, difficult to play. A really awkward game. A really awkward game. It's a shame because I like the spooky music in the background, and I kind of like the look of the game. But because it's so awkward to control it and to move it, and let's put it this way. When I first bought another game similar from Ocean, this was the game Movie, right? You had to move the dial across the bottom to pick the gun up, and you had to move the dial. But while you was moving that dial, you was unable to move around. And if it wasn't for Kempston joystick, you'd be unable to move around. Well, I always thought the game would have been better, Movie especially, if you had just one key to press, a line of keys to press to select any one of those instantly, right? Rather than move that across the bottom. But you're spending more time trying to get that on the right square, and you can go too far and you can go backwards. And then, like for instance, when I need to collect that gun, I was taking a blow, and then I was trying to move, and he was on his way back, and I was taking a blow, and then I was trying to move again, and he's taking another blow, and before you know it, you're dead, and you ain't been able to get into the game, sort of thing. So because of that reason, I know he got 70%. I found it a very difficult play indeed. And I didn't like it that much. It's a shame, because a good loading screen, you know, it starts off well enough, and it's a long load to hardly be able to get into it. I like games just a little bit easier. I like games that gradually get harder, and yeah, so on. For that reason, I'm only going to give that a 5.5 out of 10. That's a low rating for me, and it's because it promises so much but delivers so little. Maybe, given time, if I had more time in hindsight, I could play it a little bit more, might get a bit better at it, but I doubt it, because I don't really want to go back to it. And as soon as it's lost my interest, and I'm sure many people here are the same, as soon as the game loses your interest, you're not interested in trying to get round it, to try and beat it anymore. And that's exactly what happened there. I played it a few times off camera, tried to record, lost interest, not interested in playing anymore. We'll have a look at one more, and then we're going to call this a wrap, because we don't want the show to get too long, of course.
I'm reading a book about anti-gravity.
Really?
It's impossible to put down.
Oh, Evo, dreadful. Yeah, but that, you ain't going to get no charge later, coming out with jokes like that. Right, emo aside, the next game, Heroes of the Atlantis. It's a fantasy role-playing game, and we're going to load it up now. Yes, not you. Shut up. My little AI friend.
Okay, I see.
Oh, you said okay. Annoying bleeper sound. Reasonable loading screen. Now this is sort of like an adventure type game. I tend not to put these in my show because they take too long to play. However, there's a bit of action in this, so I thought I'd have a look at it. We're going to just, as you can see, we're going to zoom in a little bit. Sorry, Emo, you're out of the picture for a moment, my friend. Right, there we go. He'll probably start playing the game. Just have a read through that a little bit, and I'll press any key, and of course, because it's a tap file, I'm able to load it. Lovely graphics to start with, you know, the different characters, and of course, you know, you've got all of these you've got to play. One of them's, I believe, is a wizard. But I think that part to start with the game, and of course, oh, there's one of my favourite characters. And I'm keeping the noise off for a moment, even though I want to. Now you've got to select, those are the 8 characters you got there, and what's your answer? Well, I don't know. What should my answer be? QAOP or Kempston? Well, I'm going to go for Kempston. We should be able to press fire to start. And because I've got a tap file, it loads fairly instantly. Stop the tape and press any key. Okay. Level 1. Yep, so I'm on this guy here, and if I die, I can become any. You can swap the characters as well. And if you can look at the sides, you've got like a health bar. Be careful, because obviously you can potentially fall down there, which I just did. And now, of course, that character's gone. But we'll walk through in, and of course you get to thrust, and you've got a directional there control. And now I need to attack, so hopefully my sword ability, and of course I'm taking a few hits, I managed to get rid of him. Quite a big screen, very monotone graphics, so I don't know how this is going to feel with the autoplay. And of course I don't know how to, yeah, you need to take that item. So you take various things and you just work your way around the maze, and there's various tasks to do. Select character. Okay, we'll do that. And now, yeah. There you go. So when return to the game. Resume the game, of course. No, restore. Oh, this menu. It's a little bit sensitive. I don't want to save game. We've done the character select, and yeah, exit menu, isn't it? That's it. I've played this earlier offline and I was okay with it, so there we go. We return to the game. So now we're going to just explore a little bit. There's quite a big map, to be quite honest with you, and I quite liked it. But I just found it didn't respond very well sometimes. You know, you don't... Oh, obviously I can go through that door. I'm going to have to attack him. Oh. And I've charged and completely changed direction, so I'm ducking down, and hopefully I can strike him more times than he strikes me, and we can get rid of him. Yeah. See, for instance, for that part of the scene, it looks like you're going to walk into that wall. It looks like you can't go any further, but actually, it's just the building's prominent and sticking out. Now we collect the diamonds here. So we now have to press a separate key for the menu. Take, yeah. Gem, yeah, go on then. It's a gem, and exit menu, right. There we go. I didn't even pick it up. I found it a little bit slow as well, so you can change your directions, and I'm about to get attacked here. So you're working around like a maze, so it's this sort of game where you've got an action game, but at the same time you need that sense of direction sort of writing down. So you need to be able to have a piece of graph paper and sort of do like directions in order to know where you are, because it's quite easy to get lost. But the game itself, it's not bad. It's just very slow moving, very sluggish in its reaction, and when I'm pressing fire, sometimes I end up jumping, and I don't know why that is. Maybe it's the Kempston joystick or something, but yeah, but it's a decent sized maze, so I can see what they tried to do. But that said, it had an overall rating of 83%, presentation was 88, graphics 74, sound 50, playability 88, but your sound got 50 because there's hardly any sound in there. You know, you've got a little bit of, apart from my squeaking chair, you've got a little bit of sound of when you're blown, but generally speaking it's silent, and it's a 128k game. I mean, you've got a disc version, so maybe a little bit of theme or sort of, you know, music in the background would have enhanced the feel of the game, but for that reason I don't think it was an 83% game. But it's a shame because I understand what it was they was trying to achieve. Me personally, I'd give it no more than a 7 out of 10, but it did keep me playing for a while. It kept me going at it, trying to work out what to do. Obviously, that said, 7 out of 10, I think that's fair comment. And with that also said, well, let's wrap up today's show. So thank you to Dean Jones's Cues, thank you to Matthew Lowe, thank you to Richard Hollins, the Beaver Sound, and thank you of course to Lee Chop Stevens for letting me use his AY tune in me music, of course. I use a lot of different AY tunes. If you ever need to know what sort of AY music that I tend to select from, I try to randomise and varyise it from week to week. Varies from week to week, if you know what I mean. Sometimes I end up picking one or two of my favourites because they've got the energy side. But this one, you know, this is a great one for the engine tune, isn't it? You know, this is from a Monty Mole game, Temples of the Lost Souls, which is now playing on the Grey. Us too. As always, if you like today's show, please remember to leave me a thumbs up to say, yeah, okay, I've got through a good selection of games today. Unfortunately, we didn't have time for Commodore versus Spectrum. Well, that's just the way that one went. You know, I don't want it to be too long. And believe me, keeping these shows down to an hour or just over an hour can be quite difficult because when I'm recording footage, I do waffle on sometimes. I try to know what I'm talking about, and sometimes I don't. Isn't that right, Emo? Oh, let's zoom him out. Oh, bless him. Look at him. Hey? He's lost there, isn't he? Eh? In the meantime, from me, Wayne Robbins, or Retro Robbins, as I like to be called nowadays, depending on when you watch this, have a nice working week and weekend, and you take care, and I'll see you again on the next show. Hopefully, you'll be there to join me. And that's all there is to it. Hit the end sequence then, Emo. Emo, press the button. He's ignoring me again. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.